It's officially time. Okay, we are live.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hope we're all having a fantastic Saturday morning.
I'm
And
a
if you're
little
not, I
tired.
hope the live stream makes it a little bit better.
Oh, wow. I gotta turn up the volume. Can't hear you.
Should I start yelling?
Oh my gosh, please. What about the people with headphones? Think of the children.
Headphone users, RIP. I'm not going to say sorry.
Oh my goodness. I was gonna actually announce it in the Discord, so I'm gonna do that now.
Very smart. I will,
I used to remember to do it all the time, and then you know what happened? I started forgetting.
Life happened.
All right. Let's see.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hope we're all ready to chat about some books.
A singular book, just the one.
Now we'll probably talk about other books.
You think?
In that first 10 minutes where we're not really talking about the book, I'm sure we'll talk about some books.
Fair enough.
Hello to everybody just now joining. You're 1 minute late, and that's actually really rude of you. I mean, I was here on time, and you can't be here on time.
I was only here 3 minutes early.
Yeah, but you were still here earlier.
I guess
earlier than normal.
Hey, was it 15 minutes early is on time, right?
Yeah. We're book people. We talk a lot about books. That's very true.
That is true. That is literally the whole shtick of our channel.
Hi, still have 5 minutes left of the audiobook.
You got it. We won't start for another 8 minutes. I believe in you.
It's all you.
I don't think anything really happens too significantly in the last, a little bit.
I don't know, I feel like something does happen.
I take that back.
Never mind.
Scratch that.
Let's take it back, reverse it.
So how have you been? How's life been treating you? I heard you reorganized your bookshelves again.
I did. I now have, my extenders on top. I don't think I can properly. Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow.
New top shelf. Let's go.
Top shelf unlocked.
Top shelf unlocked.
I'm drooling over here. It's so pretty.
Thank you. But I've been taking the last week off from doing any YouTube stuff, and it's been really nice.
Enjoying the holidays.
Yeah, it's been lovely. What about you? How have you been?
The grind don't stop.
The grind don't stop.
I have been okay. I did get some sad reality check that I probably won't be able to put my bookshelves up for another 6-ish months.
No.
So, yeah.
You always have your book stack.
Yeah. I guess it's fair. Yeah. My life's going to be so crazy, but I hope I can find a nice place and then just live there for 3 years.
Yeah.
So.
Be settled.
Yeah. I'm leaving in about a week.
That's still so crazy. I feel like you've been talking about your training for months now, and now it's actually happening. Yeah, I guess that I feel like isn't a very accurate statement.
Yep. So I'm studying airport codes, which is so not fun because some of these airport codes are quite literally ridiculous, and I have to memorize 103 of them, and I'm just not about that. Yeah.
That does not sound fun.
No, because for example, Orlando International Airport in Florida is MCO. I'm where are you getting the M? Where are you getting the C? Why?
No, literally. The airport code for Kansas City is MCI. Mm-hmm. I'm is the M for Missouri? For what? Why?
Makes no sense.
Yeah. Maybe it is for Missouri and I'm just being stupid. If anyone knows, don't tell me.
Yeah, there's some even crazier ones, but that's the first one I can think of off the top of my head.
You got this. It's all you.
I got a week. I can figure it out.
Yeah. You're a girl boss. You got this.
Oh, goodness. We're going to give it 5 more minutes, and then we will start discussing Red Rising. We just like to give some people some time to trickle in.
In case they weren't punctual.
We're giving Riss her 5 minutes to finish the audiobook.
I love the level of dedication, though.
I do. I feel like almost every live we have at least one person like, hold on, I got 10 more pages left.
I know, it's so funny.
Honestly, it's such a mood, though. Truly.
Yeah. I wish that was me.
There's a lot. There's lo-fi with air traffic control, which is an absolute vibe. You need to listen to it while you learn all those codes.
Yes.
Interesting. I didn't know that lo-fi with air traffic was like a genre that existed.
New genre unlocked.
Oh my goodness.
Well, has anyone been reading anything good recently? Oh, I told you people not to tell me what MCI stood for. I don't want to know. No, thank you, Steph, for the information. I feel so knowledgeable now.
Yeah, now you're educated. That's not even one of the codes that I have to memorize because we don't fly there. But
Yeah.
the more I know.
Now I know.
Now you know. Yeah. Now we all know.
Makes sense. Yeah, if anyone flying into Kansas City, there you go. Currently reading the Throne of Glass tandem read. Praying for you. I gave up on that.
No! I'm gonna bully her.
I'm not giving up on Throne of Glass, even though I kind of want to a little bit. I'm gonna push through. But I did read Empire of Storms.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm still going. Don't worry.
All right. Fair. Half a Soul.
We all know how I feel about Half a Soul. Good pick.
We do. We do now, since your new video was released yesterday.
Yeah, we don't know. If you don't know,
I was like, how did you talk about 5 books for 30 minutes? But there you were.
They're my favorite books. Of course I have a lot to say about them.
Oh, someone's reading the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. That brings back. What a throwback for us. That was our very first book club book.
Yeah.
Wow.
Trying to reorganize my bookshelf, but I don't know how to separate by genre or author. I usually go for genre, I feel.
Because typically the vibes will match.
Yeah. Also, 80% of my shelf is fantasy, so it's kind of just all by genre.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Riss has finished the audiobook.
Yay! Well done.
Just finished The Cruel Prince. Oh, good pick.
Starting Empire of Storm, but currently reading Iron Flame. Feel like it's a bit of a struggle at the moment. Yeah, that book's pacing's a little all over the place.
Pacing is trash, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's just trash. Good stuff. Good stuff. Are you currently reading anything, Katie?
Oh, I was just about to ask you if you've been reading anything.
Hair of a time. We're on the same wavelength.
Well, I finished Oathbringer a couple days ago, and that's kind of all I've been reading recently, aside from me finishing Red Rising within 2 days, because I left it till the last minute.
I mean, I did the same thing, but I finished it a day before. Just had to shift it one. Yeah, I did not listen to the audiobook CD that I got from the library, containing 14 CDs. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna find an ebook of it instead.
It would have been a vibe.
No, it wouldn't have.
That's not your CD player to listen to the audiobook.
Can you imagine?
Honestly,
but right now, I'm reading Altered Carbon by Richard Morgan. I don't know. It was a book my dad recommended. It's also sci-fi. I don't really like the writing, but I just want to finish it. But now I'm looking at how far into it I am, and I'm not that far into it. I've sunk so much time into it already, so I'm like, DNF?
I might have to DNF this one.
I might. We will see. All right, we're going to give it one more minute, and then we are going to start our little chit-chat about Red Rising.
Yes. Friends tell me Wicked King is really good. Wicked King is the best one of the series, and you should read it.
At the Cruel Prince series?
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, it's the best one of the series. I guess don't take that for
like the first one the most.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people don't think that.
That's the one that had the most political intrigue for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I enjoyed. I didn't like the romance. So the rest of the series, I was like,
Oh, see, I loved picking up crumbs throughout the series. It was so fun.
It's really grasping for crumbs for that series because...
Hey, we are not here. We are not here to talk crap on Jude and Carden. We won't get into it.
Okay, fair enough. All right. But we are going to talk crap about Darrow. No, I'm kidding. I don't know if we're going to talk crap, but
we're going to talk crap about Darrow.
We're discussing Red Rising.
Woo!
Wait, what side are you on? Is this correct? Or is it this? Yeah.
I mean, I guess it depends on what side you want to... I don't know. Look, what do we all rate Red Rising?
Yes, star ratings. Drop them in the comments. Let's see. I am very intrigued.
I know a lot of people really love this series, so...
Like, rave. Yeah. And rant. In a positive way.
I gave...
1.5. Wow. It's pulling it in with the last 5 minutes, and they're like, trash.
I love that you still finished it.
4, 4.5, 4, 4.5, 4, 4, 4.75. What did you give it, Katie?
Well, I'm not really rating books anymore, but if I was going to give this book a rating, it would be a 3.
Okay, that's about what I expected. I gave it a solid-ish, low 4. I don't know. It's 4. I'm just gonna go with 4.
Okay. I know a lot of people say that the first book is the worst one in the series, and like the jump from this one to the second one is like it gets so much better. So I'm intrigued, but I don't know if I'm going to continue it anytime soon.
Okay. I think I am. If I can get my hands on the next book today, actually, I think I'm going to the library today. And if they have the book there, and it's not 14 physical CDs, then I think I'm going to continue the series. I think, I don't know. The thought ended there. I swear it started somewhere.
Yeah.
This book took no direction that I expected, though.
Yeah, I went into it, like, honestly not knowing anything about it. Honestly, I saw that it was compared to, like, Hunger Games. I was like, well, every book compared to the Hunger Games is not like the Hunger Games. And then this one was like...
The closest to
like the Hunger Games.
Literally, I was like, kind of pleasantly surprised.
No way.
So, I think in the beginning, at first, I was not super impressed with, like, I guess the foreshadowing. Like, straight away, I was like, okay, Eo's gonna die, like, obviously. Yeah. And then when they had talked about the people having, like, different aptitude tests, like, vastly different aptitude tests, I was like, oh, well, they're probably going to die then. Like, so going into it in the beginning, I was like, either they are spoon feeding me the foreshadowing or I'm suddenly really smart with spotting foreshadowing. But then suddenly I took a break, like, right before they got into, like, was it arena? Like, that's what I imagined was, like, this massive arena.
Yeah. Before they got into the Hunger Games.
Yeah, so I had read that whole first section the night before, and then I picked it up, and I felt like I was reading a completely different book. I'm like, did I miss something between page, like, 80 and page 81? Yeah. But I really enjoyed it, because suddenly it was, like, medieval vibes in a sci-fi setting. So, like, I was thriving. We're talking about, like, besieging castles and, like, tactical warfare, and I was like, wait, actually, this is kind of fun.
See, I didn't love the games. I didn't really, like, care about them, to be honest. Okay. There was just no part of this plot that I really felt invested in or, like, I really cared about. And I think that's mainly because I don't like Darrow as a main character.
Oh my god, no, so he's insufferable, isn't he?
Exactly. And it's so hard to be, like, invested in, like, what's happening to him when I'm, like, wanting him to shut up half the time.
That's fair. Let's see. First 100 pages or so were really hard for me to get into, and then the rest of the read took me one day.
Yeah, it is very fast-paced. I do agree with that.
Absolutely. I really liked the beginning up until the middle, but then it was action after action. There's so many characters I lost many. Yes, that is another thing. There were so many characters, especially, like, in the beginning when we're, like, in the group before they, like, kill everybody. And you don't know who's important and who's not important. And then when we get into the games, they're not really reintroduced to, like, remind you who they were.
You're kind of just like, you remember that person, right?
Yeah, you totally remember.
Oh, you don't?
For the longest time, like, who the fuck is Julian? I was like, oh, he was relevant?
Well, not for long.
That's true. Well, I mean, he was still brought up, but like.
That's true.
Still.
When they were put into those rooms and they were like, all right, just like have at it. I was like, what's going on? Also, poor Julian.
Honestly.
He seemed like such a kind soul.
Yeah. Survival of the fittest, man. The week gotta go.
There were definitely like, that was the first moment of the book where I was like, oh, so this is going to be like incredibly brutal. Like going for, like, I knew it was going to be like, there were like little hints of it. Obviously, because they were like hanging people and like leaving them there.
I think got that vibe almost straight from like page one.
But like then when they got into like the institute, whatever, I was like, okay, so it's like nonstop. It's just gonna like keep going.
All right, we're just gonna keep killing people. Yeah, that like it kind of set the tone. Page one when they were talking about like you have to like pull people's feet to like properly hang them.
Oh, see, I think I missed that part.
It was like page one. I was literally like, damn, okay, we're setting the tone early on.
And I don't really like that tone in books when they're like just nonstop like brutality. Like it's not that it's necessarily bad, but it's just something that I don't really enjoy in books. So like that also did not contribute to like
your enjoyment
that I might have had in this book.
That's fair.
Someone said Red Rising is child's play. The rest of the series is very gory and bleak. That's the vibe I'm getting.
I guess Katie will not be continuing it then.
I don't think so. I just don't like really brutal books.
I guess that's fair. I mean, I enjoy the Poppy War, and not necessarily the brutality part, but I think it's well written in that way. I think this one, I think my peeve with like the brutality part is like it has to be for the story and not just for like a shock effect of just like killing characters. And I think with how the book kind of laid it out with you have to rebuild and become civilized all over again when you're in this like a high stakes environment. I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of characters to keep track of. And then all the different like subgroups. It took me like halfway through the games to realize like who they were talking about. And like with the Proctor situation, I think it would be, I think, a low 3 stars if I really like was super critical on it. But I really like action heavy books. And I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. But there's like a lot to like extend your belief of like things that happen, especially with Darrow. And it's like he's being genetically modified, but suddenly he's also super smart and has all this knowledge and like only slips up once when you're in this like high stakes environment. And then he's like the best at everything and like figuring everything out. And I'm like, I get it because he's the main character. And so you want to establish him as like, you know, this. And it reads so hard like an early 2000s 10 like book. Like when I started reading this with all like the lingo and just the writing was super like choppy almost. I didn't like the writing style. And that's why I only got to the action.
Yeah.
Because I was like, the dialogue sucks. It sounds so fake. And I think that was also like, I'm big on like dialogue and characters, and there was no one fleshed out because the dialogue was garbage. I'm like, what are these words that you are making these people say?
No, honestly, like, if I hear somebody say gory damn one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm like, stop it. Also, if I hear somebody say
Goodman annoy me the most.
Wait, what?
Goodman? When they're like, listen here, Goodman. And I'm like, that's so ugh.
Although, honestly, if I have to hear one more person say that they're going to piss on somebody after they kill them, I'm going to just like, I don't even know. I was like, can we think of like a better way to like intimidate people? Because it feels like something a 13-year-old would write, and I just didn't care for that.
And I think it's interesting too, because like I don't think either of us really read a lot of books by like male authors with a male protagonist either. Like I know there are books that I've read like that follow like a main character who's male, but not an early 2010 work. I'm telling you what, I was just not having it.
Like, Darrow got on my damn nerves.
I'm still trying to figure it out how someone that is supposed to be so smart can't figure out that Mustang is literally the twin of his enemy. Yeah.
That got me, to be honest. I didn't see that coming.
I don't think there was any foreshadowing.
Yeah.
At all.
I was listening to the audiobook while I was like brushing my teeth. I was like, no way. Like my mouth fell open. I was like, I don't even care about this story that much, but that's tea.
I was 100% convinced that she was going to betray his ass. I was so excited. I'm like, I love a good betrayal.
Honestly, I kind of wish she
the book was over. I know.
It would have made her a more, like, I guess, like, active character in the story, because it was kind of like she's there, like, to kind of just interact with Darrow, but I feel like she wasn't really doing much.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that she really did was save him after Cassius. Is that his name? Yeah. That was interesting, with Cassius still hating his guts. I was like, oh, that's got to come up in later books, surely, with how dramatic it was.
Yeah. Thought the book was kind of meh, but I'm still curious how it'll continue. Yeah, that's like kind of how I feel. I feel like at some point I do want to continue the series, but I just have like so many other books that I want to read that I'm probably not going to continue this one soon.
Yeah, you got to finish the Skyward series. That's got to be your sci-fi priority.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I like that one a lot more than this one.
Yeah, my thing is, like, if I read it now, I'll probably continue it. I don't know if I'll continue with, like, the spin-off series, because I don't know how invested I'll become. But I enjoyed it. I couldn't put it down through the games. I was having fun reading it. I was like, oh, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
But I'm not, like, overly invested because, like I said, Darrow is extremely insufferable.
Yeah. I think I really like, conceptually, I think this book is really cool. And I really liked the setting, obviously, because, like, colonizing planets is interesting. I liked hearing about, like, all the people, you know, living on these different moons of these planets. I feel like that aspect of the sci-fi I really enjoyed, but I just don't think I like the actual plot of the book.
That's fair.
I also feel like sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like a lot of like the other aspects to this book just feel very similar to other books that I've already read. Like the whole different colors thing, like different peoples. I feel like it's very similar to like the factions in the Hunger Games, and I feel like he did his own thing with it, but it was still just very reminiscent of like a bunch of other stuff that I've read, which isn't necessarily always an issue, but I don't like the story. So I'm just probably more critical on that than I would be if I had actually liked the book.
That's fair. I think for me, the world building just felt like messy in a way. Like we're throwing all these elements in, but I'm not going to remember all these elements by the end of the book. Like, I don't know. The world building was really interesting with how everything's set up, and I'm still like mildly confused. Apparently, the series increases in scale so much after the first book.
Okay.
I would assume so because you've set up this vague world that's out of the sphere of Mars.
I think it's also like really hard to do like good world building, especially when you're reading a book that's in first person from somebody like Darrow, who has like spent his entire life with the Reds like down in the mines. So I'm interested to see more of what we'll get as Darrow learns more, but I feel like it's just hard to do that in a book like this and like really expand on the world building.
That's fair. I was like we had said at the beginning, like pleasantly surprised that it was compared to Hunger Games and actually had that vibe. Like I think that's one of Katie's biggest pet peeves is when people compare things to the Hunger Games and then it's like nothing like it.
Don't get me started on like book comparisons on books because they're just ridiculous. Like there's this one, I think about it all the time. There's this comparison on the back of like the Six of Crows, like hardcover or whatever. It was like, it's Harry Potter meets Game of Thrones. I was like, in what world is it Harry Potter meets Game of Thrones? They would just slap Game of Thrones on everything. They slapped Game of Thrones on here. It just like compare it to something better. Like I understand from a marketing standpoint why they do that, but it's just stupid. Sorry.
Especially when it's like not similar in the slightest. Or it's like, oh, it's got a fantasy setting. Game of Thrones. Oh, it's got magic. Harry Potter.
Like, come on.
And children who might kill each other. Hunger Games.
Literally. Like, I could think of so many better, like, comparisons for, like, these books, but they don't ask me. And that's to their detriment.
Katie wants a blip on a book.
Honestly. My blip will just say compulsively readable.
I also think the first book is annoying because Darrow's perspective is from a younger teenager. His choices and his mindset reflect that. I've heard the later books grow with him. I guess that's valid.
Yeah.
He is a teenager.
But again,
why is he so damn smart all of a sudden?
No, I kept forgetting that he was supposed to be like 16, 17, 18, however old he was supposed to be, because he reads like an adult, honestly. And I guess that makes sense in this society because, like, you know, they get married when they're like 16, so like they have to grow up quickly. But I just kept forgetting he was so young. It's like, this dude's younger than I am, and he's out here doing all this.
I think that's also what was interesting about, like, this apparently is an adult sci-fi, but it felt more YA to me, besides all the brutal murder and pissing on people.
That's interesting because I think this might have been originally YA. I think I've seen some places online that it was a YA sci-fi series, even though it's not really considered that anymore, where I would not put this anywhere near like a young adult section because it's just so brutal.
Interesting. But I mean, it's the same in the Hunger Games though, and that's YA.
I guess that's true. I just feel like, I don't know, this book felt more brutal than the Hunger Games was. And I feel like the Hunger Games was at least like brutal with like a point to it.
That's
like actually made some like good commentary on society. And if maybe this one is, I didn't really get much from it as a, like, you know, what am I trying to say? It just wasn't doing a lot for like how brutal it was. For me, at least.
But I think that can turn back around to the same thing of it's in Darrow's perspective as a teenager. And we've only seen a glimpse of what he's gone through. So maybe that's what they'll expand in the next books. But it's interesting that like a lot of people like love this one.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how it is. I didn't know that this was the lowest rated of the rest of the series. Typically it goes the opposite way where the first book's so good and then it gradually tailors off. But it makes me a little bit more excited to continue the series.
Yeah, I've seen just like so many people say like if you didn't like the first book, the second one is like so much better. And I've seen like a couple of people talking about this book recently and like reading it and like continuing the series. So that was interesting because I like, same here, I never really consider the first book the best book in a series. Or no, the last book the best book in a series. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think this was his debut.
Yeah.
Right?
So there's I think
well.
Yeah.
His writing might have improved. But I just wasn't a big fan of the writing. It felt very YA. It felt like middle grade YA for an adult book, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was because of all the slang that was thrown in that felt so out of place. No matter how hard I tried to wrap my head about the fact that people are saying gory damn, I'm like... And then the random like space things with like capital letters in the middle of words that were like not explaining what they are. And I'm like...
Literally.
Okay, hope that's not important. We're just going to keep going.
I listened to the majority of this book on audio, so like I didn't realize that like words were like there was like a random capital letter in the middle of it. So I picked it up to read like 10 pages of it physically, and I was like, what's going on? Why are these things written like that? And then I gave up on reading it physically because I didn't care anymore. But fair. It was a choice. It was a stylistic choice.
I guess so.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was really popular in like the early, I feel like 2010s with like all this slang. Like it really reminded me of The Maze Runner. I don't know. Did you ever read The Maze Runner?
No, I haven't.
See, that was such a stylistic way to write a book. Also horrid with like their slang and like what different words meant. And that was always like a big pet peeve with it. After I like tried to reread it, I was like, maybe I don't like this series. But that I think is like the closest comparison that I have, like the writing styles, not exactly the same, but very similar in comparison to my opinion, I guess.
That's fair. I don't think I've really read any books with a very similar writing style to this. Never really come across one. I also don't read sci-fi, so maybe that's like a mark of the genre, subgenre.
Maybe.
I guess it's its own genre, yeah.
Oh my gosh. In one of my videos, after we had read Skyward, I was like, I think this is my first, like, YA sci-fi. And I was, like, scrolling through my Goodreads, and I'm like, how dare I forget, like, The Lunar Chronicles. And, like, so many other sci-fi books that I've picked up, I'm like...
Yeah, you love The Lunar Chronicles, like, some of the books.
The Lunar Chronicles. Like, I have read, actually, like, quite a bit more sci-fi. I just don't really talk about it that much, but I've definitely read more sci-fi than I think I initially realized. Just not like spaceships type of thing. Like, yes, the Lunar Chronicles has like a setting where they're on like a space shuttle, but it's not like, well, no, just kidding. They have a sentient spaceship basically. Anyways, I take that back. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Never mind, Cash. She's just going off on her tangents.
Going off on tangents that make no freaking sense.
I feel like I say that kind of stuff all the time, though. I'll be like, oh, I've never read insert thing here. And then I'm like, yeah, I have. Like, what am I talking about?
The worst part was I put that out on the internet, and I'm like, no, someone needs to call me on this bullshit.
No, like, I'll say it in a video, and then, like, if I go back and, like, rewatch that, I'm like, stop being stupid. You have already read something like that.
Especially to be like, I've never picked up a YA sci-fi before. I'm like Iron Widow as well. I had read, like, a couple months prior.
Yeah, so many. So recently. Sometimes you read so many, they blur together. There you go. Just fall back on that.
Speaking of Lunar Chronicles, you need to read the Lunar Chronicles.
Okay, but I started Cinder. I listened to like half of it on audio, and then I never picked it up again.
The romances are so good in that series.
I just think I've missed the boat for the Lunar Chronicles. Like, I don't think I want to read it, honestly.
A tragedy.
I'm sorry. I feel like if I would have read it when I was like, you know, in middle school, and then like if I were to reread it now, I'd be like, oh my god, I'm obsessed. But like, I didn't.
Fine.
No, I get that it's a good series and a lot of people love it, but I feel like a lot of people love it because they read it when they were teenagers, you know?
The call out, Miss Twilight Girly. Try again.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because I do that all the time. I'm saying we all have our own nostalgic series.
That's true.
You know? I think it was fun, but I just don't think I care enough about it.
That's fair.
Or maybe you'll see me in a year reading the Lunar Chronicles.
I doubt it.
Who am I to speak in absolutes? I won't do it.
No, because if you don't read Ranger's Apprentice 3 and 4 before you pick up the Lunar Chronicles, we're going to fight.
All right, so I'm going to go out and pick up Cinder right now just to make Cass mad.
Coming for your ass. Did we read Red Rising last minute again? Would y'all have and expect any other way?
Come on now.
I think you know us well enough to know the answer to that.
Honestly, I feel like no matter when I read it in the month, it's still just like, it doesn't really help. Like if I were to read it sooner, because if I read it earlier in the month, then I forget everything about it. Like if I read it last minute, I'm like, I've consumed all of this book in the last like 24 hours. Don't ask me to articulate thoughts on it.
I think this book was actually fairly easy for me to remember compared to like other books that we've discussed. Even though I know I did read it only like 2 days ago, but it had very distinctive like segments of the book that happened. It wasn't like, I don't know. Does that make sense? Probably not.
Memorable. I think it's a very memorable book.
I think it is. You know what other book has been like on my mind as of late?
What?
A River Enchanted. Because I still haven't picked up a Fire Endless. Yeah, but that honestly lives rent-free in my head to where like I still remember everything that goes down in book 1. And yet we have book 2 just chilling here. I haven't touched it.
It's like in arm's reach too.
It is. It was overdue at the library. I returned it the next day. It was back on the shelf and I'm like, maybe I'll try again.
Mine. I feel like that's interesting because I don't really remember much of anything from River Enchanted. I
only rated it like a 4.5. I say only. Like I enjoyed it.
High.
That's don't get me wrong. Someone was really confused on like my 4-star ratings. They're like, it feels like if you don't rate something 5 stars, you don't enjoy it. I'm like, I'm sorry for coming across that way, but like that's not the case. But then I go, I only rated it 4.5 stars. So I get it now. I get why people think that. But it's just been all in my mind.
Yeah. So you're gonna pick it up soon?
Maybe, because now I want to do the Red Rising series. And I'm like, too many options, not enough time.
Not enough time.
So, sounded like there was something on my ceiling.
Oh, spooky.
Arose such a clatter. I don't know.
Arose such a clatter. Yeah. Anyway, anyone have any more thoughts about Red Rising? Swiftly moving along.
Yep. Final thoughts, final feelings. Anything that stood out to you?
That's what I'll say. I wish I loved this one. That's what I'll say. I didn't.
I think I went in with low expectations, or like even though a lot of people had very high expectations, because I don't know. I was gonna go somewhere with that.
I think that's a sufficient enough statement. Don't worry about it.
All right, fair enough.
We'll continue the series someday. That's how I feel. I feel like eventually I'll get to a point where I want to try picking up Red Rising again. I just don't think right now is that point.
I've been like getting kind of not annoyed, but like something I really want to do is when I like enjoy a book, I want to just like read the rest of the dang series, because the longer I wait, like the less likely it is for me to pick up. I did a reread of The Fifth Wave, another young adult sci-fi series that I just slipped from my mind.
Yeah.
And I read it like back to back to back, and I was like, how long has it been since I've read like a series like that originally, not like a reread?
Yeah.
Of just like committing to the series instead of picking up something else on my TBR.
Yeah, I feel like I try and commit to the series because I know if I wait too long, I won't pick them up. But I feel like especially for like book club books, if I read the first one and I'm like, oh, I might continue it, I never do.
Yeah. That's fair. I think also with like making like the book videos, I don't want to like talk about the same series, like books 2 and 3 and 4, whatever, because it's like, well, now I can't really talk about it because y'all don't have the context of discussing the first book. So
I kind of just hope my big thoughts about the sequels are sufficient.
I mean, that's what I do, but still.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe those are all the thoughts we have. Unless anyone has any last minute thoughts to add.
Last minute, final call for your thoughts.
You got 5 seconds. Go. Type fast.
While you're typing out any final thoughts or any final anythings, next year's book club is a little bit different. Very exciting though. We're going to be reading 3 entire series, which should be super fun. And then I think December is an oddball where we're just going to have one book. Unless we love this format and continue it into 2025, which sounds like so far away. So I regret even saying.
That's not the 2025.
But we're going to start with an Ember in the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. I will get back to y'all when I have my training schedule, and then I'll work around that to try to figure out a day to live stream. It's going to be end of the month for sure, but it might be on like a weekday or like beginning of February. I will let y'all know.
We'll figure
no information until I get there, and it's going to be a lot. So, yeah.
I'm so excited to read some series.
It's going to be fun. We've got, I think, a decent selection of series.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. We know the other 2. We're just not telling you guys.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Any characters you did like in the book? That one really tiny psychotic dude that was not supposed to survive. What was his name? Start with an S.
Severo?
Yes.
I know. I've been looking up Red Rising reviews recently, and so many people love that dude.
I think he's just the outlier, like the only character that really stood out from like this perfect type of character.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he wasn't supposed to survive and he killed like the famous dude's son.
Yeah, like honestly, everybody else in this book sucks.
There's just not much that like develops them as a character, and that's like an interesting backstory, right?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the characters are there like specifically to interact with Darrow. Yeah. And like that's kind of it.
Yeah. And even though like Severo was Darrow's shadow, I think he solidified himself like that in like the middle-ish. But then near the end, I feel like we got a lot more separating him from Darrow, I suppose to say.
I liked Pax at the end. I was a little sad when Pax got stabbed in the neck.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But I feel like there wasn't enough character development for Pax for me to be like actually really sad about it.
Yeah, he was just.
I was like, oh, another casualty of battle.
Big dude, and he's dead. Yeah, and it didn't really change Darrow that much.
Yeah,
like
I feel like
someone that's like so loyal to you that they sacrifice their own life, and I feel like that didn't really change him as much as I think it should have.
Yeah, like a lot of people died in this book, but for what reason?
Yeah,
like I feel like you can kill off some characters and like for shock value, but you can't do that with all of them. I guess EO died for a reason, but also like we didn't know EO that well. We got like 20 pages of her, and they're like, "Oh, off to the gallows with her." I was like, "Okay, there's character motivation, I guess," but
yeah, and I think that was hard to like. You don't want to spend too much time in the beginning developing that relationship because you don't want to waste like that many pages, I guess. But also like you need the readers to feel sympathy and be like, "That's Darrow's motivation for doing all this is EO." Yeah. I don't know. I think it was like halfway there. I don't know what else could have been done though, because I think it was like pretty boring. But then I didn't care enough.
Well, I didn't claim to know what to do.
Alrighty, I think that wraps up our Red Rising discussion.
All right.
Thank you all for being here. And
spend some time with us on this Saturday morning, evening, afternoon,
middle of the night. I guess we'll see y'all next month when we read An Ember in the Ashes.
Very excited. All right, bye.
Have a lovely rest of the day.
Bye.